Hello, I'm Christine here with Teen Driving Solutions, and I'm here with Ken, who is an amazing parent who brought three of his children through the Teen Driving Solutions school, and he has quite some stories to share. Thankfully, one of his children did not end up being one of the terrible fatality statistics and was able to avoid doing that given the skills that he learned with Teen Driving Solutions. So thank you, Ken, so much for being here, and we look forward to hearing your story.
Well, thank you, Christine. It's an honor to be here. So you've asked me some questions, and I have spent some time trying to figure out how to respond. So your first question was, what are the top one or two takeaways that my kids got from the workshop? How has it benefited you and them? So let me step back a little bit. Most people my age were taught how to drive by their parents and then had to get through driver's ed. Now, my dad did a pretty good job. And for the most part, my driving record has been clean. I have one incident where somebody rear-ended me while I was at a stoplight. I could have avoided that, I suppose, in retrospect, but I didn't. Um, so while I think I could have been a good driver, sorry, I am a good driver and I can teach my kids to drive, I'm not a professional. I have my own bad habits and blind spots, literally. That being said, my experience as well is that kids are not generally open to being taught by their parents for many subjects, driving being one of them. I grew up in Canada, Ottawa, Canada to be specific, where, after my dad taught me and I got my driver's license, I could and did go to high school parking lots. Um, and those parking lots were often covered by ice and snow. So I was actually able to go and play around in an icy parking area and get out of control and figure out how to get it back. And I think that's helped me. However, I live in North Carolina. There are not that many opportunities for you to just go out and say, well, I want to go out and get out of control safely. So that's where Teen Driving Solutions provides a solution for that. They offer a safe environment um, where you learn the mindset and the skills that enable you to experience out of control scenarios and practice the skills to recover. And again, the classroom training also gets you in the mindset to think ahead, get the right mindset, understand who you are, where your head is at, and is your car or whatever vehicle you're driving ready for the task at hand. Again, a case in point, my son Connor, who was the first person I put through this class, he had an accident where he was at an intersection in the RTP area, and he was getting ready to make a left-hand turn. And as he was doing that, a delivery vehicle just ran the stop sign, the stop light. This is a potentially life-threatening scenario where if you get T-boned, the car is destroyed and your lives are destroyed. He was able to take the training that he received during TDSS and mitigate the outcome, changing it from a serious accident. It still was, but he and his wife emerged from that accident with just bumps and bruises. It's
Wow.
just amazing.
So he had his wife in the car as well.
He did.
And so did he tell you at the time what it felt like or what went through his head, or just he reacted from muscle memory, having gone through the driving school? What did he share with you what the difference maker was that he was able to mitigate the situation?
So in a situation like that, there's not really much time for thinking. It's all about reacting. So I would have to say the muscle memory that he picked up during the driving exercises helped him avoid a more catastrophic outcome. Um, in retrospect, could he have done something better in terms of just scanning the environment to make sure it was safe? Probably. And I bet you he does now. Um, but yeah, it was really the training that he received that he cites as being responsible for his positive outcome in a bad situation.
Right. And it really is those split seconds that make all the difference. And it's one of the things that impressed me most when I went through the workshop with my son is they put the kids and the parents in high stress
Yes,
situations where you have to react, where you're super uncomfortable sometimes. And it mimics at least some of the stress you'll feel if, for example, you see this truck barreling through the light about to hit you. You have basically no time to react, but you
correct.
have
Yep,
to react if you're going to potentially have a better outcome than a fatality, which it very well could have been.
it could have been. Yes, absolutely. So, in the end, so I put two other kids through it. They haven't been involved in any accidents. Bottom line is, I think they're equipped to get to where they need to go, and I sleep better.
Yeah. And so thinking back, your kids went through the workshops, Connor in 2013, Keegan in 2017, and Kellen in 2024. How did your perspective on them being out on the road, drivers who can run red lights, or just them even being around their friends who might, encourage some unsafe driving potentially, how did your perspective shift with how you felt about them being out there before versus after they'd gone through the workshop?
So there's two parts to it. I mean, one from a skills perspective, I think they've had the experiences of going out of control and figuring out how to recover in a safe way, right? Not, uh, you know, flipping the cars or anything like that. And I have high confidence that with the experiences that they had, they should be able to recover from those out of control situations should they occur. But I think the more important thing, and this is one of those things that I don't think that other driving schools do really well, is getting the mindset. So, Dan has talked about, are you ready to drive? Are hey, if you just had a fight with your girlfriend, maybe now is not the right time to go out. Um, if you've been drinking, my kids are all of age except for my youngest one. Is that a good idea? And in these days, you can always get an Uber. Um, so, are you ready mentally? Do you have a goal for this journey that you're about to go on? And the other thing as well is like, and is your car ready? So he talks about doing walkarounds, making sure your car is prepared for the drive ahead. Again, I TDSS does a great job at getting your head to be prepared for what you're about to do to make sure that you get to where you're going alive. Um, so the mindset piece, in some senses, is maybe almost more important than the on track exercises, although those are awesome. Did I answer your question?
Absolutely. And you think about, I'm really glad you brought up that mindset piece because you think about today versus say when you and I were learning how to drive, there's so many other things to take away from our attention and to distract us from the task of actually driving this massive hunk of metal and components that really can turn into a weapon inadvertently as you make a mistake or you react to someone else making a mistake in perhaps the not the best way. So yeah, the mindset piece is something that Dan really presses on, and that ties into the vision that he has of impacting and bringing down teen fatality rates, teen accident rates, because they really are unacceptably high. And most people don't know really what the statistics are. So the mindset piece is critical, and it is so much bigger than what you said, the time on the track and the workshop. So I'm imagining that having taken three of your kids through these workshops, uh, that their mindset shifted, as the teen driver, and you probably also experienced some mindset shifts yourself. Would you go
Oh,
into that a little bit more?
absolutely. Absolutely. So one thing I would say is, so I've been driving for a couple of years now. Um, the other thing that, that is important is just to be prepared. So again, let's, put the phone down, it can wait until later. The other thing that's changed dramatically since you and I learned how to drive, I have no idea how old you are, Christine, but I know when I was driving, there were no cell phones. Um, so the world has changed in terms of the attention paid by other drivers to what they're doing. And I think Dan said this, or his teachers have said this. Some people think, driving a car is just the other thing you do while you're on your cell phone.
Oh gosh.
So, so being aware of the fact that a lot of people out there are texting and driving, and that's their main purpose. Um, while at the same time that, oh, the other thing they're doing is driving. And I see this all the time. I mean,
Mm.
if I if I go on a trip anywhere, it's like, oh, look at that. That person's weaving back and forth. I bet you they're on the phone and I couldn't overtake them. And like, well, I'm not wrong. Um, so being prepared for other people to not pay attention to what they're doing as a primary responsibility, which is getting from one place to another.
Mm.
Not sure I answered your question though.
Yes, and I completely agree. Just as a side anecdote, we were on a bit of a road trip recently, and I was driving, and my husband was sitting in the passenger seat, and he said, "I'm just curious how many people that go by us. I'm going to look in their window at the driver and see how many people are on their cell phones. 8 out of 10. Scary, really scary, are actively going down the highway at highway speeds looking at their cell phones. And this doesn't count people who were talking on their cell phones using a wireless, device. These were people actively looking at their cell phones.
Yeah,
Terrifying.
it is.
So what did you notice as far as a mindset, shift in your kids, just from being exposed to the information about the dangers of being on the road and also having gone through, the hands-on experience in the workshops?
So I'll say this, I really can't gauge
Mm.
the change in mindset other than, I think they are driving with their cell phones off.
Okay.
My youngest son, does drive with a nav, as I do,
Hmm.
right? So I've got my ways
Hmm.
going on, so I know what's going on.
Hmm.
But I don't see them, just engaging in those risky behaviors of saying, "Oh, driving is just another thing." Um, as far as the skills, I think the in-car experiences probably impressed them more. And from a tactical perspective, I think they were invaluable, right? Getting out of control and getting back and not flipping the car uh, is important. Emergency braking, making quick decisions in the context of, okay, I need to turn left or right. Oh, I need to do it now. I think those exercises really help them. I think assessing the mindset change is a little bit harder for me to gauge,
Sure,
honestly.
sure. Well, obviously you felt like Teen Driving Solutions was highly impactful on your children and you because you have done some volunteering with Teen
Yeah.
Driving Solutions. So what was the inspiration for that, and why do you, I guess, feel like it's a worthwhile cause to invest your time and effort into?
Um, so I'll just start out with this. Dan Wagner has a sense of purpose like I have never seen. He and his volunteer team are passionate about the mission, right? Arrive every time you drive, arrive alive every time you drive. And you can tell when he's in front of the class teaching, he gives some very poignant examples of things that didn't go right in his life. and the lives of other people that he's encountered, and the passion's there. Now, bit of context, I retired in 2024. And one of the things that you may encounter as you get to that next chapter of your life is like, okay, so why am I here? So I looked at things I do. I do volunteering in a number of different varieties, but Teen Driving Solutions, again, with that purpose and passion, I thought was a good place to apply my time and talents. My intent when I was starting to volunteer was to actually be a classroom teacher. I spent the last 5 to 10 years of my career as a professional teacher, and I thought, well, I can stand up in front of a bunch of folks and tell stories and do PowerPoint presentations. Now, Dan, of course, has a different vision, and he kind of takes the opportunity to teach the teachers in some senses. So, one of the funny things that I felt was like, well, okay, so he's going to get me to teach the maintenance class. I pay other people to do that for me. So
Yeah.
it was funny for me to be put in that place. And then, I do have some on-track experiences with the rabbit car and just, doing cone chasing and stuff like that. But, bottom line is, Dan, you walk in, you see that he is the most passionate person I have seen. And he's got a purpose that, that has defined his life. And how can you not want to support that?
Right. Yeah. And he is all about the kids and
Yes, he
saving
is.
lives, and what could be better than that? Someone whose
Right.
heart and purpose and passion is in the right place like that. Well, do
Yeah,
you have any last thoughts you'd like to share with the
I
viewers?
do.
Okay.
So let's talk about one of the elephants in the room.
Hmm.
This course is expensive. And, I've gone to a couple of other courses where it's like a half-day event or whatever. I think the expense is justified. I mean, that may be hard for some people to swallow. I mean, it's last check, it was about $1,000 a weekend. But this is where you get intensive training by experienced drivers, some of them even race car drivers, so they're highly trained, and they can teach and demonstrate the skills you need to survive. Again, I've seen other programs out there, and they may have, again, very qualified and passionate people, but from what I've experienced from TDSS, they're just at the very top. The other thing that's really different about this course, and I think really important, is that this is the only course I know of that directly involves the parents, both in classroom and in car exercises. I've seen my Kellen go through another training course, and he was in the car, and like, well, that's cool. Half a day. It's just not the same. And the parents engaged in both the mindset, preparation, and the in-car exercises are helpful as well. I'll tell you this, which is funny in my mind, and maybe it's funny to you as well. One of the first things I learned when I went and took Connor was like, I had been setting my mirrors wrong forever.
Yes. Yes.
Uh, uh, so not only are the people on the road on their cell phones, their surroundings are not well monitored. What a takeaway from my first lesson at Teen Driving Solutions. Finally, I'll just say, Dan, I'm repeating myself now, but Dan and his team are passionate. They believe in his mission. It's clear that they believe in that mission. They're just not showing up. They're all doing this for free, repeatedly, over some of them for more than a decade. One of the things that Dan and his teachers say as well, by the way, is driving. Driving is not a means to an end in itself. It's a means to have the students achieve their life goals. And driving means that you have to know how to get from point A to point B in such a way that you can achieve those life goals. He's passionate about it. He wants everyone to arrive alive, but ultimately he wants the parents of the kids to not have to go through anything terrible. and he wants all the kids to meet their goals. I mean, what a powerful, passionate mission.
Absolutely. Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you. What the parents get out of the workshop part is as valuable as what the kids get. And like you said, the way Dan views things, and which is a great mindset shift for us as parents, or a great reminder, and also for the kids to really understand, is every life lost is thousands of potential potentialities and wonderful outcomes that are gone, that are
Right.
lost. And I can tell you from my perspective, having lost my sister to a teen driver who was
Oh,
unprepared for the situation that he encountered all those years ago, the $1,000 or whatever it costs at the time just for the workshop part is, what I would give to have my sister back. Yeah, it's fractional. So when I think about what is my child's life worth,
yes, absolutely.
that then the money well invested, I think of it as an investment in
Hmm.
the safety and the well-being of my child, and also so my child never ends up being the one who accidentally hurts or kills another one.
Yeah,
Because the trauma that uh, the other family has to live with, uh, it destroys both sides, on both sides of
absolutely.
the equation. So, and then beyond that, just supporting Teen Driving Solutions and their continuing mission. Dan has a massive vision for well beyond the driving workshops,
Right.
for how to continue to save teen lives and make the roads safer for people. So thank you, Ken, so much for sharing all of your thoughts and your experiences with Teen Driving Solutions, and for your continued support mentally, emotionally, and through your volunteer efforts. And we welcome everyone to find out more about Teen Driving Solutions and how you can utilize their free resources and the workshops and hopefully the upcoming courses, etc., very soon at teendrivingsolutions.org. Thank you so much, and we will see you again soon with another insightful interview. Take care.
Take care.